Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I have a few shows that I want to do today. But I want to start off this one. This one is going to be relatively quick. So if you get a blip, this says I'm here and then I'm not. That's probably why. I've said that before and I've ended up being for like an hour. So take it with a grain of salt. That being said, there's someone who I wanted to give a shout out to. I guess two people. Yeah, I guess two people. Let me check my mic. I'm sorry, I'm bad at doing two things at once. That's why I check my mic. That's why I check my mic. All right. So, I saw an awesome clip. Shout out to Bullshit Man. Bullshit Man put out a clip of Caitlin Johnston, friend of the show, Caitlin Johnston, going to the defense of Partisan Girl, who is being attacked as a Russian bot. Now, the UK government has put out this thing that said certain people are Russian bots. I shit you not. And I've showed you one of those cases where Sky News in the UK pulled a guy on and said, and trashed the guy. Like it was shameless. I've never seen anything like it from the standpoint of news. They asked the guy a question, the guy responds, the guy gives an awesome response. And instead of dealing with the response, they black out his face, put over top of a tweet that he said like 20 years ago, and use that tweet to try to hit him in the knees, cut his volume down, talk over him, and then bring him back to talk about the case after gutting the guy in that way. Is what it is. That's what the UK government is doing. They're doing propaganda stuff. The UK government also put on a D notice, which forbids the press for talking about certain things dealing with the Skripal case. Why do you put a D notice if you're innocent in the situation? So, all I'm saying is, if people are lying, they say they're lying for reasons. Now, people may say they're lying because they're trying to keep something a secret. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's somewhat as straightforward. What is the British government trying to keep a secret that it doesn't necessarily want the press to talk about? That goes to the British government. This is what I will say. Caitlin Johnston defends Partisan Girl. I'm not all that aware of Partisan Girl. I think I'm a follower of hers, but I don't necessarily know fully who she is. I know that sounds weird. But I've seen a few tweets and I'm like, I like what she's putting down at the very least on those few tweets. Nevertheless, she's not a Russian bot. She's a human being. She has opinions. She has disposition. She has things that she cares about. She has things that she hates. She has things that she loves. She maybe have a dog. She may have a cat. She may have something that she gives her affections to. She's a human fucking being. Regardless of what the UK government is saying, clearly the UK government is lying through its teeth, which should give you other concerns about other things that they may say that they're not. That's not true. She's a human being. Caitlin Johnston, Aussie television. Caitlin, you've made it. You're on TV. On TV, defending Partisan Girl. I love this. This clip is awesome. Bullshit Man, good shout out for clipping this. And let's take a look.
Partisan Girl. Who's very much a real human, you can see her there, was a Russian bot, and another guy called Anne 56, who's this like English citizen, a citizen of the UK. They got it completely wrong. But it was like one of these bombshell things that Russia is, infecting social media with Russian bots, etc. Meanwhile, they turn out to be very ordinary people who are just really concerned about regime wars. And in a post-Iraq world, we should be concerned about regime wars. They are never, ever good. They never work out. They always kill people, and they're never for the benefit of any ordinary people. Anyway, so Partisan Girl got pulled into that. There was no retraction of that story. There was a small amendment when they did actually find out that these were real people, and they changed the word bot to account. But they have never gone back on the fact that they decided that they were some sort of Russian agents that were out there infiltrating social media and spreading wrongthink throughout the world. So
let me ask, Partisan Girl, are you a Kremlin spy?
No.
I mean, you can be. You don't have to say no. You might be.
I mean, no.
You're not?
Well, the one thing that bothers me about it is that why would I have to be a Kremlin spy? Why couldn't I be like a Syrian spy?
Yeah.
Cannot the Syrians have...
The thing that shocked me, I must admit, is that when it became clear that the political editor of The Guardian had just made a massive factual error, had called an Australian citizen a robot, and then she turns up smiling into the camera and she's definitely not a robot. that there was no retraction and apology.
No, not at all. And I actually tweeted out to these specific journalists asking for like a right of reply or, you know, some kind of apology. And basically all they said was, well, we're just mimicking what the government said.
Stenographers. They were stenographers. They even admitted it. We were just mimicking what the government said. And this was the Guardian. This was the Guardian. It was, you know, this wasn't some weird... Partisan girl is a cutie. Partisan girl is hot. I gotta give her that. Yes, she is. But the fact that she's hot means kind of gets across that unless Russians have created some new technology that puts some being into some kind of cybernetics, into this awesome frame, then clearly she's not a bot. She's not a robot. She's a human being with certain positions and certain opinions and certain things that she gets across that the UK government doesn't particularly like. And so what the UK government has decided to do was label them all as bots. The point that she's making here is that the editor or the person in charge of The Guardian who sees this, who writes the fact that this woman is a robot, doesn't retract that story when he finds out, oh, she's not a bot. They spoke to Ian. He's not a bot. He's a human being. He's a person with a disposition and opinions that we don't particularly like. Is it the job of the media, of the news in this case, to just automatically reflexively repeat what the United States, what the UK government says? Or is it the job of media to be skeptical of the things that the government says, whether that's here in the States or whether that's in the UK? You call yourself The Guardian. You call yourself The Guardian. What are you guarding? What are you guarding? I suspect that that's there with this idea of we're guarding the public against this kind of overwhelming political establishment that tries to get certain things across that may or may not necessarily be true. Why do you need to guard anything? I guess what I'm trying to say is, and I may not necessarily be saying, well, the whole point of the newspaper, calling yourself The Guardian, is getting across this idea of being this kind of protector of the public, this thing that holds government accountable and tries to get to the level of truth of what the government is saying, making the assumption that governments do indeed lie. What are you guarding? And when did you start guarding it? And the moment that you find out that this person is an actual person and is not an actual robot, and your excuse is we're stenographers. We're stenographers. We're just saying what the government told us to say. That's all. We're not going to retract our errors. We're not going to retract the fact that we were wrong. We're not going to retract that at all. It's amazing. Good job, Caitlin Johnston. Good job, Partisan Girl. Keep kicking ass, both of you. And yes, Partisan Girl is hot. Fair enough, I understand, guys. Is she a cyborg? No, she's not a cyborg. Carrie Mark, they're paying what they say, it's what they're paid to say. Then don't call yourself The Guardian. Call yourself government stenographers. Call yourself the governmental press corps. Call yourself anything else but The Guardian. You have people who will actually come out telling the truth, giving a different disposition on what's taking place in the world. And this disposition that they're giving makes more sense than what the government is saying. Makes more sense. Hey, Guardian, is there a D notice? Do you have a D notice? Is there something that's preventing you from telling the public the truth, the British citizenry the truth? Do you have a D notice? That's what I want to hear. That's what I wanted him to talk about. Explain that to me. Explain to me whether or not the government has shut you up and told you not to say certain things and you just complied with that particular notice. You're not legally bound by applying to that particular notice, or are you applying to a notice that is telling you to lie about certain things concerning the Skirple case? That's what I want to know. She makes a good point of, why am I not a Syrian spy? Why do I have to be a Russian spy or a Russian agent? That's funny. But what it boils down to is the media itself claiming a defense for getting something wrong is that they're stenographers. We just said what the government told us to say. That's sad. That's abysmal. That's utterly pathetic. And fact is, The Guardian, knowing that they were wrong, and don't retract the fact that they're wrong. And I understand retractions aren't this major thing, but it's just the point. You fucked up. You fucked up royally. And you fucked up on something dealing with issues of war, dealing with issues of people getting injured and hurt and broken and massacred. And these are people out there saying, you were wrong. You're getting an impression to the public. That's not true. The government's response to this is they're just Russian bots. They're just Russian agents. We're not going to engage in actually what they're saying. What we're going to do is try to smear the person who's saying it by calling them Russian bots and Russian agents. And The Guardian, supposedly this is a lefty newspaper, The Guardian, turns around and smears these people as Russian bots. And the response of The Guardian, when they're called on this, when they're said that they're wrong, when they said you're fucked up, that said this is a factual error. This is obviously an error. Obviously, this person is not a cyborg. This person is not some kind of animatronic device or some animatronic machine that's speaking and spewing this stuff around. No, they're people. They're human beings. Some cases, Australian citizens. And faced with the wrongness, confronted face to face with the wrongness that they've exuded, their response is, well, the government said this, and so we're just repeating what the government said. I'll leave it at that. We're just saying what the government told us to say. We're stenographers. We're stenographers. We don't have to retract. We're just stenographers. That's our defense. That's awesome. I'm going to play it again, just in case people got here. Again, shout out to Bullshit Man for
at The Guardian
wrote this. Caitlin Johnston kicking ass on Aussie television. And defense of Partisan girl from The Guardian calling her a Russian bot. And then confronted with the fact that she was not a Russian bot, that she was a person, Aussie citizen, and they don't retract. Their excuse is the UK government told us, and so that's what we're reporting. Their defense is that we're stenographers. This is Caitlin Johnston kicking ass.
The Stewart, who's not just a writer, she's the political editor at The Guardian, wrote this story that said that Partisan girl, who's very much a real human, you can see her there, was a Russian bot, and another guy called Anne, 56, who's this English citizen, a citizen of the UK. They got it completely wrong. But it was like one of these bombshell things that Russia is, infecting social media with Russian bots, etc. Meanwhile, they turn out to be very ordinary people who are just really concerned about regime wars. And in a post-Iraq world, we should be concerned about regime wars.
Let's stop it right there for the moment. Caitlin Johnston, love this woman. She has this really sweet accent. And so it's like when you're listening to her, I'm American, so our accents are different. But when I listen to this sweet accent, and what she's saying is so awesome. Like, she's like, in a post-Iraq world, we should be extraordinarily concerned with these regime wars. I mean, look at what has taken place over the last period of time. And these are just people who are motivated by the failures of the UK United States government and the lies that these government perpetrated in order to commit these regime wars. Love it. Let's let her keep going.
They are never, ever good. They never work out. They always kill people, and they're never for the benefit of any ordinary people. Anyway, so Partisan Girl got pulled into that. There was no retraction of that story. There was a small amendment when they did actually find out that these were real people. And they changed the word bot to account. But they have never gone back on the fact that they decided that they were some sort of Russian agents that were out there infiltrating social media and spreading wrongthink throughout the world. So
let me ask, Partisan Girl, are you a Kremlin spy? I mean, you can be. You don't have to say no. You might be.
I mean, no.
You're not.
Well, the one thing that bothers me about it is that why would I have to be a Kremlin spy? Why couldn't I be like a Syrian spy?
Yeah.
Cannot the Syrians have
The thing that shocked me, I must admit, is that when it became clear that the political editor of The Guardian had just made a massive factual error, had called an Australian citizen a robot, and then she turns up smiling into the camera, and she's definitely not a robot, that there was no retraction and apology.
No, not at all. And I actually tweeted out to these specific journalists asking for like a right of reply or, some kind of apology. And basically all they said was, well, we're just mimicking what the government said.
On the positive side, look at it this way. They know you're there. Otherwise, they wouldn't be attacking you for it. They know you're there. That's a good thing. That means what you're saying, what you're doing is having some level of impact. And it's impact enough for them to respond to what you're saying and what you're doing. Keep kicking ass, both of you, Katie and Partisan Girl. Keep kicking ass. I'll end it on this. I send out invites to everyone to come to the show. And Abby Martin was being attacked the other day. Viciously attacked. And I sent her an invite. I was like, look, if you ever want to come on the show to discuss what's taking place, look me up on YouTube. This is my channel. I will be glad to have you. My audience will be glad to have you. Abby hit me back and she said, look, hit me on my email and we'll talk about it. So it is possible that Abby will be coming on the show. The reason why I bring this up is because all of these people who are talking about this stuff is, for the most part, being attacked, especially if they're having any reach. They YouTube silenced Abby Martin, and I think it was Blumenthal's video, where they blocked it in all of these countries. There was nothing in the video that was perverse. Everything in the video was actually what was taking place on the ground in real time. They are attacking you. They're attacking these elements of people who are trying to tell the truth and trying to prevent these wars because they don't like the fact that these people are telling the truth and trying to prevent these wars. And I suspect it's less about the wars and more about the government narrative. They don't like the fact that you're pushing against the narrative that the government is putting out, in which case they're trying to silence you, shut you down, or smear you. That's the beginning and end of it. Your response to this, the only response to this, is to continue to do what you've been doing. That's it. That's the only response. So, yeah. Oh, all right. So there are people here. Jenny Lynn, what's happening, Jenny Lynn? Mildred Moore, hey Jamal. Gene Shell, stop pounding on the fucking table, please. Sorry, Jen. Sorry, Gene. Got to take a trip down under. I've been down under. Australia is gorgeous, man. I love it. Yo, found it for the first time. I made it to a live vid. Still no notification, YouTube, but it doesn't go to my email. But it does go to my email. Okay, good. At least they're giving something. Yeah, guys, I wasn't going to keep this one long. Anthony Ray, speaking of beautiful women, Abby Martin is a badass. Abby Martin is a badass. That goes beyond her being hot. She's a badass in general. So, yeah, guys, I'm not going to keep this one long because I have a few other videos. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Caitlin. I like Caitlin. She's come on the show multiple times. Yeah, she's come on the show multiple times, at least twice. And she's always been kind, and she's always been a friend of the show. And if she has her moment in the sun, I want to give her all the credit in the world for it. So, Katie Johnston, not just that, your moment in the sun defending somebody else. Oh, I love that. I get high off of that to some degree. I don't know what it is. It's something in my head that bombs in the defense of somebody else. But in this case, in defense of somebody else who's been maligned by British press unfairly and wrongly, factually completely wrong. And The Guardian, who's supposed to be this lefty magazine, did not retract their story or change it. So I'm going to end it at that. Thank you guys very much. I will see you guys shortly. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and of course, you can always support through Patreon. Thanks, guys. I'll see you shortly.